Hey everyone, my name is Ariel. I'm 25 years old and I'm from a small town where no one speaks English. Just a few months ago, I couldn't say even one full sentence in English without stopping, thinking, or getting nervous. I used to freeze every time someone asked me, "How are you?" I felt embarrassed, confused, and stuck. But then I found one simple method. No grammar books, no expensive courses, no need to travel, and it changed everything. It's called shadowing. And in this video, I'm not just telling you my story, I'm telling your story too. If you've ever felt afraid to speak, or tired of learning but never improving, keep watching, because I'm going to show you exactly what I did for 7 days, step by step, and how it turned my fear into fluency. Let's go back to where it all started. Chapter 1. I spoke, but no one understood. This is how it all started. I remember the first time I tried to speak English in front of someone. I was in school. The teacher asked me to say a sentence in English. My heart started beating fast. My hands were cold. I stood up and tried to speak. I said the words, but they did not come out right. The teacher looked at me. The students looked at me. I could see confusion in their eyes. They could not understand me, and I could not understand why. I had studied English for years. I knew the rules. I knew grammar. I could write sentences. I could read books. But when it was time to speak, my voice felt weak. My words were broken. My tongue didn't move the way I wanted. I was trying so hard, but it didn't work. That day, I felt small. I felt like maybe I was not made for English. Maybe I would never speak fluently. I went home and sat quietly in my room. I thought, why do I understand English in my head but not with my mouth? I asked myself again and again, what am I missing? I remembered how many times I had practiced vocabulary, how many times I had done grammar exercises, but still, when I opened my mouth, nothing came out right. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to stay silent forever. I wanted to speak, clearly, freely, confidently. One day, I found a video online. The title was simple: Shadowing for English Fluency. I had never heard of this word before, shadowing. It sounded strange, but something about it made me curious. The video showed a man listening to English audio and repeating it right after. He was not thinking. He was not translating. He was just copying. I thought, is that really learning? But the man spoke so well, so naturally. I wanted to try. The next day, I picked a short video. It was just 1 minute long. I put on my headphones. I pressed play. The speaker said a sentence. I paused. I repeated it. My voice sounded different. It was not smooth. It was slow. But I kept going. One sentence, then another, then another. I did not understand every word, but I repeated anyway. I listened. I copied. I matched the speaker's voice. I felt silly. I felt like I was talking to a ghost, but I didn't stop. That was my first experience with shadowing. It didn't feel like studying. It felt like something new, something different, something real. I was not writing anything. I was not reading. I was just listening and speaking. It was hard. My mouth got tired. My brain felt slow. But for the first time, I felt like I was actually training my speaking muscles. I didn't know it then, but this was the beginning of my speaking journey. The moment I stopped just learning English and started living it. That night I went to sleep thinking about the sentences I repeated. My ears could still hear the voice from the video. My mouth wanted to speak again. It was a small start, but it felt right. If you are watching this and you feel like no one understands you when you speak, if you feel nervous, shy, or embarrassed, I want you to know I understand. I was there too. But I found something that worked, something simple, something powerful. I found shadowing, and it changed my English. This chapter is just the beginning. In the next one, I will tell you what happened on my first full day of shadowing. It was not easy. I almost gave up. But what I discovered surprised me. Chapter 2. My first day of shadowing. I felt silly. The next morning, I woke up early. My mind was still thinking about that video, about how the man repeated the words right after the speaker. I remembered how it felt, a little strange, but also exciting. I told myself, let's do this seriously, just one full day. Let's see what happens. I picked a short English story video. The speaker was slow, clear, and used simple sentences. Perfect for a beginner like me. I put on my earphones and pressed play. The voice spoke. Once upon a time, there was a little boy. I paused. I said the same thing, trying to match the voice. Once upon a time, there was a little boy. My voice sounded funny. It didn't feel like my voice. It felt like I was copying a robot. I felt silly. But I kept going. Sentence by sentence, I repeated everything. Sometimes I couldn't catch the full sentence. So, I paused and rewound. Again and again. I repeated each line 5 times, 10 times. I looked in the mirror while speaking. I wanted to see how my mouth moved. Sometimes I laughed at myself. Sometimes I felt a little embarrassed. What am I doing? I thought. Am I really learning? But then something happened. After about 30 minutes, I felt something change. My mouth moved a little faster. The sentences came a little smoother. I did not have to pause after every word. I could speak the full sentence in one breath. There was a little boy who lived near the forest. It came out easier than before. I smiled. I knew I was improving. But still, I didn't understand every word, and that made me worry. I thought, should I stop and look in the dictionary? But no. I remembered the advice, don't stop, don't translate, just copy, just shadow. So I continued. I focused on the sounds, the music of English, the rhythm, the pauses, the stress. Then I noticed something. I was not thinking in my own language. I was just speaking. I was not building the sentence in my head. I was just repeating it like a child learning to talk. And I remembered something important. Babies don't learn language by reading books. They learn by listening and copying. I was doing the same. The more I shadowed, the more confident I felt. I started to enjoy it. It felt like I was speaking with someone, like I was part of the story. I was not just watching a video anymore. I was inside it. I was talking with the speaker, learning from the speaker, becoming the speaker. But then came the hard part. After an hour, my throat was dry. My head felt heavy. My focus was slipping. I wanted to stop. I wanted to rest. Maybe this is too much, I thought. Maybe this is not for me. But then I remembered why I started. I remembered how bad I felt when no one understood me. I remembered my dream, to speak English without fear. So I took a short break, drank some water, and then came back. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I was seeing progress. I could feel it. My mouth, my brain, my ears, all were working together like a team. I was not perfect, not even close. But I was better than yesterday, and that gave me hope. I continued this shadowing for one full day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Each session was 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't force myself to do too much, just enough to stay excited. Every session, I repeated, listened, copied, spoke. It felt like I was exercising my English voice. At the end of the day, I was tired, but also proud. I did something new. I stayed with it. I didn't quit. And when I looked back at the morning, I could see the difference. My voice was a little stronger. My confidence was a little higher. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I can do this. 1 day done, 6 more to go. The next day, something even more interesting happened. I made a mistake, a big one, and that mistake taught me something I will never forget. Chapter 3. The Mistake That Made Me Better. Day 3 started like the others. I picked a short English video. I pressed play. The speaker started talking. I repeated after him. At first, everything was going well. I knew how to pause. I knew how to repeat. I was even starting to enjoy the sound of my own English. But then it happened. A word came that I could not say. No matter how many times I tried, it came out wrong. Again and again, I got stuck. The sentence was, she thought about it carefully before answering. I don't know why, but the word thought was very hard for me. I said, taught, thought, taught. Nothing felt right. I paused the video. I listened again. I tried again. I failed again. I felt angry with myself. Why can't I say this word? I asked. What is wrong with me? For a moment, I wanted to stop. I thought maybe shadowing was not for me. I thought maybe my mouth was not made for English. But then I remembered something important. I remembered the baby who hears the same words every day. The baby who says mama, dada, and makes mistakes again and again, but keeps trying. And one day, that baby speaks. So I stayed with the word. I slowed it down. Ought. I watched how the speaker moved his lips. I looked in the mirror. I did the same. Slowly, carefully. I was not perfect, but I was closer. That gave me hope. I told myself, this mistake is not my enemy. It is my teacher. That was the moment everything changed. I understood something new that day. Shadowing is not just copying, it is noticing, it is fixing, it is growing. When you make a mistake, you do not stop. You stay there. You play that one sentence again. You play it 10 times if you must. You copy it, you live inside it, and one day, your mouth will get it right. That word thought became special to me. It was the first word I truly owned. I fought for it. I worked for it. And when I finally said it right, I smiled. Not because it was perfect, but because I did not give up. I turned a mistake into power, into progress. Later that day, I made more mistakes. Some were big, some were small, but now I did not fear them. I welcomed them. Each mistake showed me what I needed to learn. Each one brought me closer to real English, not school English, but life English. And here's what I realized. Mistakes are the path to fluency, not the enemy. The more I failed, the more I learned. The more I tried again, the more I improved. Shadowing was not about being perfect. It was about training. Just like lifting weights makes your muscles grow, shadowing makes your speaking strong. I also started to recognize the speaker's voice better. I noticed how he stressed some words, how he paused after others. I tried to match not just the words, but the feeling behind them. When he sounded excited, I tried to sound excited. When he slowed down, I slowed down. I was learning not just English, I was learning expression. I was learning tone. I was learning to sound human. That night, I looked back at my mistake. I was no longer embarrassed by it. I was proud of it. Because that mistake made me stronger. It made me understand how powerful shadowing really is. If you are watching this and making mistakes, I want to say, don't stop. Don't run away from your mistakes. Stay with them. Repeat the sentence. Watch your mouth. Listen carefully. You will get better. I promise you will. And the best part? After this mistake, something magical happened. On day 4, I stopped thinking in my native language. I stopped translating. The sentences just came out. Chapter 4. I stopped translating. Day 4 was different. I didn't notice it at first. I woke up, brushed my teeth, and sat down with my notebook. I picked a video like always. A slow, clear English speaker. I pressed play. I started shadowing. Good morning. Today we are going to learn about simple daily habits, I repeated. It was easy. It felt natural. But then something strange happened. A friend called me. He said, "Hey, I need your help." I spoke to him in English, not in my native language. I didn't plan it. I didn't think. I just spoke. I said, "Okay, tell me what's wrong." He told me. I replied again, in English. And only after the call ended, I realized something shocking. I didn't translate anything in my head. I didn't stop to think in my language first. The English words came out like they were mine. I sat quietly and smiled. This was new. This was big. I had been translating in my head for years. Every time someone spoke English, my brain would run back to my native language. Then it would run again to turn the answer into English. It was like a slow train, always late. But now, it was different. The train had stopped going back and forth. It was moving straight, fast, natural. I knew it was shadowing. I knew it was working. Because for the last 3 days, I had been listening, copying, speaking. My mouth and my ears were working together. My brain was getting used to English sounds. It was no longer scared. It was starting to trust English. I remembered something the speaker said in the video. Speak like you are singing. Let the words flow. Don't stop them. That's what I was doing. I was not analyzing every word. I was just flowing. I was in the rhythm of English, and it felt so good. That day I shadowed 3 different videos. One about habits, one about emotions, one about a short story. I noticed something. I could guess what the next sentence would be. I could speak before the speaker even finished. Not all the time, but sometimes. That gave me confidence. It made me believe that I was becoming a speaker, not just a learner. I also started thinking in English during small moments. When I was brushing my teeth, I said in my mind, I'm brushing my teeth. When I was making tea, I said, I'm boiling the water. I didn't do this on purpose. It just happened. English thoughts were starting to grow inside me. Before, English was like a heavy bag I had to carry. Now it felt like a part of me. It didn't hurt my head anymore. It didn't make me tired. It made me excited. I looked forward to speaking. Even if I made mistakes, I didn't care. Because I knew I was finally breaking the habit of translation. And you know what else changed? My fear started to disappear. I was no longer afraid to speak. I was no longer afraid to answer questions. I was no longer afraid of forgetting words, because now the words were living inside me, not just in my notebook, not just in grammar books, but in me. That night I spoke to my mother in English. Just 2 sentences, simple ones. She smiled and said, Your English is getting better. I said, Thank you, I'm practicing every day. She didn't understand every word, but I did, and that was enough. I felt proud. So if you are watching this, and you always translate in your head before speaking, listen to me. It can change. You can stop. Your brain can learn to think in English, but you must speak. You must shadow. Not once a week. Not once a month. Every day. Just 10 to 15 minutes. That's enough to start. Shadowing is not magic, but it feels like magic when one day you say something, and you don't even know how it came out of your mouth so easily. In the next chapter, I'll share what happened when my voice finally started to sound like English. Not just words, but real English. Natural. Confident. Alive. Chapter 5. My voice was growing. By day 5, something inside me had changed. I didn't need to force myself to do shadowing anymore. I wanted to do it. My mouth was used to the rhythm of English. My ears were catching the words faster. My voice, it felt different. It felt stronger, like it was growing. That day, I chose a story video with more emotion. The speaker was telling a story about a man who lost his job but didn't give up. His voice had feelings: happy, sad, hopeful. I didn't just listen to the words. I listened to the emotions. And for the first time, I tried to copy not just the sentences, but the feeling inside the speaker's voice. He said, "I walked into the room, and everything changed." I repeated slowly, "I walked into the room, and everything changed." I put the same feeling into my voice. I acted like I was telling the story, not reading it, not copying it, living it. And then I knew shadowing is not just about words. It's about voice. It's about sound. It's about emotion. Before this, my English was flat. I spoke like a robot. I had the words, but no life in them. Now I was learning how English sounds when it's alive, how it breathes, how it dances. I started to notice stress in sentences. English speakers don't say every word with the same power. Some words are loud, some are soft, some are fast, some are slow. I watched, I listened, and I copied. I matched my voice with the speaker. I became the speaker. I even tried a video from a news channel. It was harder. The speaker talked fast. I couldn't follow every word, but I paused often. I repeated short lines. This morning, the weather was cold. Many people are going to work. Simple sentences, but with speed and clarity. I repeated them again and again, my lips, my tongue, my voice. They all started to move smoothly. I was no longer fighting the words. I was flowing with them. In the evening, I called a friend. She spoke English very well. We usually talked in our native language, but this time I said, "Let's try in English today." She agreed. I spoke slowly, but I spoke clearly. She understood me. She didn't ask me to repeat. She said, "You sound good today." That one sentence made me so happy. After the call, I stood in front of the mirror. I picked a sentence from the morning video. I walked into the room, and everything changed. I said it again. Then I smiled and said, "Yes, everything really is changing." I was still making small mistakes. I was still learning. But my voice was changing. Not just in sound, but in power. My voice was no longer afraid. It was growing. It was learning to be free. Every time I shadowed, I learned something new, a word, a tone, a way of speaking. And every time I finished, I felt a little more like a real English speaker. So if you are watching this and your voice feels weak, don't worry. Speak anyway. Shadow anyway. Even if your voice shakes, use it. Because with every day, with every sentence, your voice will grow. And when your voice grows, your confidence grows. Your fear disappears. Your English becomes real. Now, tomorrow will be day 7, the final day. And I will tell you what I discovered, that shadowing is not a magic trick, but it works like magic when you stay with it. Chapter 6. Shadowing is not magic, but it works like magic. Day 7. The final day of my shadowing journey. I woke up with a strange feeling, a mix of pride, surprise, and a little disbelief. I had been doing shadowing for 1 week now, every day, every single day. At first I thought I was just copying words, but now I understood. I was training my brain, my tongue, my ears, and my confidence. all at the same time. That morning, I didn't choose a video. I didn't open YouTube. I just walked to my window and said out loud in English, "It's a beautiful day. The sky is clear. I feel strong today." I didn't translate. I didn't prepare. The words came naturally. I said them the way I heard them in all those videos. My voice sounded sure. My tone felt right. My English was not perfect, but it was alive. Then I sat down and thought about everything I had learned. Shadowing had taught me how to speak, not by thinking, but by doing. It had shown me that the best way to speak English is to stop being afraid and start sounding like someone who already knows how to speak. Shadowing is not magic. It doesn't give you English overnight. It doesn't make you perfect in one day. But it works like magic, because every day you grow a little. You speak a little better. You fear a little less. The most powerful thing shadowing gave me was this. I stopped waiting. I stopped waiting for the perfect time. I stopped waiting for more vocabulary. I stopped waiting for grammar to feel easy. I just started speaking. I just followed the voice. I copied. I repeated. I lived in English. On the last day, I played one of the first videos I had shadowed. I listened to the speaker. Then I repeated. And I smiled. Because this time, I didn't struggle. I didn't pause. I didn't stop. I spoke smoothly. I spoke with rhythm. I spoke with feeling. I could hear the difference. I could feel the difference. And I said to myself, this is only the beginning. Now I want to give you the same gift that shadowing gave me. Just try it. One video, one sentence, one day, then do it again and again for 7 days. You don't need fancy lessons. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need your ears, your voice, and your time. Here's how to do shadowing in the simplest way. Choose a short English video. Play the first sentence. Pause. Repeat it out loud. Try to match the voice, tone, and speed. Don't stop to translate. Just repeat. Do this every day. Even 10 minutes is enough. Trust the process. In 7 days, you will feel the change. You will hear your voice, and you will smile, just like I did. I am not a native speaker. I am not perfect. But now, I speak with confidence. I speak without fear. And all of this began with shadowing. So if you feel lost, if you feel shy, if you think you can never speak well, I'm here to tell you, you can. You just need to begin. And shadowing is the best beginning. You have everything inside you. The world is waiting for your voice. Don't hide it. Don't delay it. If this video helped you, please like, share, and comment. I will shadow for 7 days. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because your English journey is just beginning, and we're going to walk it together.